How's it going, everybody? Ed Ricker here, and today we have a new FPV quad. This is from ViFly. This is the X150. It is a 150 millimeter racing quad that they say is the fastest sub 250 gram racing quad in the world. So it looks like in this case, we don't actually have to register this thing, which is pretty cool. This is the bind and fly version for FreeSky, and I'm really excited to try it out. So let's see what is in here. We got our quick start guide, some extra props, battery, which is 550 milliamp hour 4S, prop wrench, some sticky foam, some extra props, and finally we can open up the second part of this. Ah, there it is. Wow, not bad. So this is a Foxeer Aero micro camera, to my understanding. 2.1 millimeter lens. These are 4-inch props. And so this is basically the smallest frame that you can fit 4-inch props on. We have very thin arms here, and they're in the standard symmetrical X. The frame is made of 3K carbon fiber, so it's super light but durable. We have our two antennae here, which are kind of being bound just for shipment. And there's our receiver. Got the 4-in-1 BLHES 20 amp ESC right there on the bottom. We also have our Omnibus F4 flight controller there with Betaflight firmware. There's our micro USB port, so we can hook this up to the computer and go through our Betaflight setup. And then on the top, we got our VTX with our VTX display, which also displays our battery voltage. This is also a Sunny Sky 1406 3300 kV motor. Oh, so there's one more thing here. This is our little VTX antenna, a little short, stubby one here. There we go. Batteries are mounted underneath, and it can run up to 4S batteries. And then that plug there is an XT30. Now, they only give you one battery, so I did buy 3 of these Tattoo 850 milliamp hour 75C 4S batteries, and we'll see how they run. Hopefully there's no issues. Now, I am a little concerned at just how durable this is going to be. The frame, they say, is very durable. Fine, I get it. But to have an antenna up here just so exposed like that, I really feel like crashing is not going to be good for this thing. How the antennas here are kind of connected, I'm not sure if I really like this that much. When I take this out to fly, I might modify this a little bit. Right now we're just using a very thin zip tie here to hold them on, but I think we need a little something else to keep these from flopping all over the place. So let's connect the battery that they gave us. There we go. So 16.7 is our battery voltage. I did charge it before I did this unboxing. And then on the right here, we have our button that can control our various video signals. So we can go through E. Now I'm holding this button for 3 seconds, and now we have our power. So we have our 25, our 200, and our 600 milliwatt video transmitter power. The camera, honestly, the camera looks very sharp, and it looks like it's in focus. I don't need to be changing focus on it. So we have arming, we have beeper, so basically I redid the antenna a little bit, gave it a little thicker shrink wrap. I also twist tied or zip tied the battery lead right here to the drone arm to get it out of the way. I'm gonna try the battery that it came with first, and then we'll try the Tattoo batteries I bought. This one is 550 milliamp hour. So all the footage you're seeing is from the Foxeer Aero micro camera that's on the drone itself, and then that recording is being seen from my Amway Commander headset. And for that reason, my Amway Commanders didn't actually record any audio that's usable. There is no microphone that is in the Foxeer Aero micro camera. Honestly, for having the stock camera on here, the image looks really good. I have no real reason to upgrade the camera at this point. I did turn off a few of the OSD options. I just didn't want to have to see the artificial horizon and stuff like that. I also disabled some of the other on-screen information, but basically it's a full Betaflight OSD. The response of this drone is amazing. It really took the turns very much smoother than my Armaton Chameleon frame. Obviously this is a racing drone, so it's got a racing style frame. Prop wash was negligible. It had great tuning right out of the box, honestly. I didn't change any of the PIDs, although I did kind of raise up a little bit of the controller sensitivity from its stock settings. All right, so actually that flew really nice. I was impressed. For such a small, light quad, under 250 grams, I really thought it'd be blown around in the wind a lot more, but this thing actually held its own, and I found that it was going through the flags a lot easier than my Armaton Chameleon, which obviously is not a racing quad. I did, however, put a camera next to me as I was flying, and you can hear this thing scream.
Ooh, that has a high pitch whine there.
At full throttle, I've never heard a drone get quite that high pitched, and you can hear the echo all through the woods and the surrounding area. It was pretty impressive. Now I'm going to try one of the Tattoo 4S 850 milliamp hour batteries that I bought for it and see if there's much of a difference. I also let my friend Seth, who's a great freestyle pilot, try this drone out for size. He loved it. He did say that it was a little floaty, however. Didn't take much throttle to get this thing up into the air, and it took a lot less throttle to bring it back down to earth. And I noticed that too, flying it back toward me. There were quite a few crash landings, as opposed to gently settling down into the grass like I'm used to with my 5-inch quads. I think raising some of the PIDs could also help when we're doing some freestyle or some quick movements coming out of a roll or a flip. It would not end as cleanly as I would have hoped. So here's the drone after 2 crashes. I actually did break the PVC on one of those gates I was flying through with a particularly spectacular crash, and it held together well. The only real damage that I could see was the heat shrink had kind of gotten sliced by one of the props, which I presume had sliced it like this as this maybe crashed into that gate. Also, some of these props were bent inward, but they're doll props, so honestly I was able to bend them back and they spin just fine now. One thing I did notice, however, is when that prop was bent, it was getting really close to these ESC wires, these solder connections. So that could be an issue right there. I would probably suggest maybe wrapping this a little bit more if possible. Another thing I did is I used a little bit of this kind of rubberized thick tape that I had laying around just to kind of give the battery a little bit more of a cushion, but also stick it in there a lot better so it won't fall out. I did have one battery fall out on me, but I attribute that to just not having secured it tight enough with this strap. Another possible issue I found was that this little button, while very convenient, is very exposed, and it extends beyond the frame of the drone itself. So unfortunately, when I crashed into that gate, it must have hit that switch, and so my video frequency switched from D2 to D3, and when I tried to power it on again, the video looked very, very poor, and I was like, well, I didn't change anything. Apparently, a crash in just the right way could switch your video frequency, which could be bad if you're flying around other people. When I was at the field, though, people were asking how much this was, and they were assuming $200, $300. Well, you can get it on ViFly's website for $189 with the bind and fly version. It was unanimously impressive to everyone around me when I told them that. I think this is a pretty awesome little sub 250 gram racer here. So thank you to ViFly for saying this to me. I do look forward to hearing what you guys think of the ViFly X150, if you have one already or if you plan to get one. Link in the description to both the battery that I use and this awesome little quadcopter itself. Take care, everybody, and happy flying.